All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Football is King podcast. This is 24 hours post National Championship game, and what we have learned is that the Michigan Wolverines get to join the likes of Lance Armstrong and Barry Bonds, and they are proving that cheaters do prosper. So good for them. Congratulations to yet another Harbaugh brothers cheating and winning a national championship. So good for them.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody.
He gets to sit at the big boy table now.
To be fair, out of the four teams that made the playoffs, they were clearly the best team. It wasn't close, unfortunately. I would say Bama was the second best team.
I still would have been curious to see Georgia play.
Oh no! That's why I said of the teams that made the playoffs. I was very specific with what I chose to say. But yeah, all right.
Pretty interesting.
I mean, this is just incredible. We have been talking pre-podcast for 30 minutes. Shane did not hiccup one time. The second we press record, immediately Elon gives us the middle finger. It's just not good. You know what? Hey, we'll play a quick game. Shane, what's the temperature in your truck right now?
Oh, it's feeling pretty good inside here right now. It's probably about 65, 70 degrees.
All right, there you go. Next week when we're recording, it'll be at 19 degrees where Shane is living. So that's good. Prepare to see Shane maybe a little bit more bundled up than normal in the truck.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I don't know. We only have one game to talk about, and we'll maybe talk about A&M there at the end. I don't know. I was just going to go basically in order of what happened in the game. And this might be a short podcast, this episode, but tune in tomorrow where we talk about all things Week 18 and Super Wild Card Weekend. Sorry. So that one's probably going to be a little bit longer than normal. So,
yeah, we got to talk about firings.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of new coaches to talk about. Freaking Mike Vrabel got fired today.
That blows my mind.
It's going to be crazy. But before we get to that, let's talk about Michigan, the Maize and Blue, winning the national championship. And they started strong. They just, first quarter, had their way with the Washington Huskies, I think is the best way to phrase that. They started off, obviously, opening drive touchdown.
And it was easy.
41 yards. And it was easy. Like, every run was easy, and then Edwards breaks off a 41-yard touchdown where I think he could have started walking from the 30.
Yeah.
And he still would have scored.
He had sneaky, the way he runs is kind of goofy, but
his jump cut in the hole was devastating.
And the crazy part is this whole year he has not played well. He played good last year, but then this year he really hasn't played well. And until that game, 2 carries, 2 touchdowns, 80-some yards.
Yeah. Yeah, he had probably the greatest first quarter stat line in football history. Just 2 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it was when those first 2 drives happened, and it was 2 touchdowns, and it was easy. I was like, Washington.
Oh yeah, our group text immediately was like, "All right, sweet, we get to go to bed early tonight." I was ready to live. I didn't look at what it live bet, what the spread jumped to after that first drive, but I was willing to up it and be like, oh, now they're 14.5 point favorites. Sweet, I'll make it.
Bet it again. Yeah.
And they still would have covered, right?
Yeah, it ended up being 21, I believe, right? It was 34, 13.
There you go.
Well, it would have been a little more of a sweat for you.
Oh, I would have been sweating real hard in that second and third quarter for sure.
Yeah, because the second quarter, I don't know what happened, but Harbaugh just ditched everything that was working.
He just quit running the ball. He just quit running the ball.
They just were running it different. Yeah. They didn't need to run the ball on every play. I understand, because at that point, Washington was like, all right, sweet, we're putting all 11 guys in the box.
They were.
That's just what we're going to do. But it's all right, let's work into a good play action, nice, easy pass for J.J. McCarthy, who
they weren't doing none of that.
He's bad.
He had one good throw in the first half. Other than that, he didn't do anything. But I was watching the Washington defense was so funny to watch because after the second drive, well, actually during the second drive too, the 2 safeties, every play it seemed like were just running straight to the line with no purpose at all. They were just running to the line. Didn't see the ball at all. And then as soon as they did that, boom, gone.
Yeah, it was kind of like they had the linebackers stand still to hold their gaps, and then the safeties came in to fill the other gaps.
But they were it seemed like they were running aimlessly.
Yeah, and it was bad.
And they still got beat.
But honestly, Washington started the game kind of fine. They marched the ball down the field. They only got a field goal out of the deal. But then I was like, okay, if this is what the game is going to be, Washington can move the ball, but might not get 7. Michigan's going to score 7 on every possession unless they fumble or have a holding.
Yeah.
And the refs were proving early on that they weren't going to call any holding penalties until the fourth quarter.
No, Michigan had several where they were clearly holding it.
Both teams did. I mean, Michigan's defensive line was obliterating Washington on all of the plays. And all right. So we're letting them play. The big thing was that they were letting Michigan's corners just mug the Washington wide receivers. And then the kid, is his name Ben Johnson? Whatever, the cornerback Johnson, who I thought you could have called for 12 penalties during that game, got defensive player of the game. And I was like, come on now.
The one on Jalen, I think it was Polk. He was going, I think they were on maybe the 14-yard line or something, and he was basically running vertical to the end zone. And he did start to stumble, but then the cornerback just kind of grabbed him by the front of the jersey and just kind of pulled him down to help him to the ground. And I was like, I get that he started stumbling, but also he pulled him to the ground.
Yeah.
I do think that the refs were pretty consistent in how they called the game, though. They were like, we're going to let the boys play.
And I'd rather it be that.
That was to Michigan. Well, I'd rather that be that, when you play Michigan, Alabama, where it doesn't benefit one of the teams. But when it's just hey, this clearly only benefits one team.
Yeah, definitely.
Then I'm just I don't like it as much. But they were consistent. I'll give them that.
I still blame. I know you don't agree with this, but that 4th and 7 or whatever in the first quarter or second quarter, where Dunze kind of tripped and he read where he dropped it. I still blame him for that. That was it was a little overthrown, but he should have adjusted better and
that's the one where he threw it too far outside, right?
Yeah, in the first quarter he throws it too outside.
Well,
but it's also not that it's neither of them's fault. Actually, if you watch the play, it's the cornerback who had the short coverage makes the play because Penix reads the play and throws it super early, but the corner hits him and bumps him inside by 2 yards, so then he's too far inside for where Penix puts where the ball needs to go. It's luck, but I think that it's the right throw, and I think that Odunze runs the correct route. I just think he gets bumped inside by 2 yards, and so then it's a yard outside of him. He can't correct to get to it.
The only thing I could think about that whole game when I was watching Penix play was Texas fans must be sick to their stomach.
Yeah,
he made every
was
play.
So mad the whole game. She was just like, "Oh, now he throws it bad." But
he made every play against Texas.
To be fair, he was getting slaughtered.
Yeah, he was.
I'm shocked that we didn't come out today and hear that he has broken ribs.
That's what I was waiting.
Towards the end of the game, he could barely walk.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was him hamming it up because he just lost the national championship, and so he was just.
And he lost his running back on the first play of the game, basically.
Yeah, but the whole walking with the towel and all the things on him at the end, I was like, all right, that's a bit dramatic, but whatever.
I mean, but there was one hit at the end of the game where I'm no doctor, but I think that's your spleen down there, right? By your hip.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he was. I feel terrible for the guy. He was getting murdered.
Oh, I bet you he's bruised up today like no other.
And that's in my opinion why he wasn't as good. I mean, he missed right. We already talked about the Dunze in the first quarter play.
He had a couple missed throws, yes, but
he overthrew a couple guys by 6 yards.
Yeah. It was, but I think also he was afraid that the safety would get over a lot.
Yeah.
Because usually when he was overthrowing guys, that safety was coming. There was very few. Hey, this dude is wide freaking open, and he missed him, besides the one in the first quarter.
The crazy part about that is the fact that, and maybe Washington was more injured yesterday, I don't know. But watching them against Texas, probably had one of the best defensive lines in the nation. Texas did not do that at all.
Texas has one of the best run-stopping defensive lines in the nation. They're not good at pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah, they got like zero pressure on them, and then Michigan.
They were one of the
absolutely destroyed them
in the NCAA at pressuring quarterbacks this year.
But that was
Andre Sweat is just so big that he's so good against the run because you can't move him.
Yeah.
He's like Vince Wilfork or like Vita Vea.
Yeah.
So like they're not the best pass rushers, but they're great nose tackles because they don't move.
Yeah, but Michigan just out physical them from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Honestly, at halftime when it was 17-10, I thought, or was it 17-10? Yeah, it was 17-10. After Harbaugh went for it on that fourth down, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, I've seen this script before.
Yeah.
Like, they played bad pretty much, and they're in this game somehow. I was like, Washington legit has a chance, but then they just got out physical.
Yeah, their chance was the third quarter because the third quarter was the ugliest quarter in football history. It was terrible.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out.
There were 6 punts in the third quarter.
Yeah.
In a row. 6 consecutive punts. I think there was 2 first downs. It was just like punt. Yeah. And yeah, that was Michigan just couldn't move the ball at all.
Yeah, it was ugly. And from an offensive standpoint, after the 2 touchdowns, it was a pretty ugly game.
I think the ugliest thing about the whole game was Washington's punter.
Yeah, what was up with that dude? Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a strategy. I mean, I don't know, because he just.
I was wondering
it's smart. If you kick a short line drive, it's never going to get fielded.
It's never going to bounce backwards, probably.
And it's always going to be bouncing forward. So like, it was good.
It almost got blocked 2 times though.
Yeah, Well, that part is the reason. The way that college football does punts makes no sense to me. We're going to let the guys get super close to our punter on purpose. Just makes no sense.
I was hearing something about punting situations in the college versus NFL, and I did not know this. I believe they were saying in college or in the NFL, like you can only send so many guys to blitz on a punt. Or what was it?
I doubt it because I feel like I've watched teams at the end of games send all 11 people.
That's what I was thinking. I swear I heard it on Pat McAfee's show. Like there was some rule about only certain guys can blitz, and in college, I guess pretty much anyone can.
There probably is. It's probably when they do the blitz 11, they have everyone there, and like some of the guys are just trying to grab people and drag them out of the way to let the guys who are allowed to blitz.
That could be.
But you know,
when I heard it, I was like, "What in the world?"
It was the biggest thing for me was just how, I mean, like we already said it, but Michigan dominated that offensive line that looked like world killers last week. I mean, just and it was like
Penix, they looked like world killers all year.
Yeah, and then like last week when Penix or however you say Penix or whatever would get out of the pocket and scramble, he would find a guy. If he got out of the pocket this week, it was he had 0.2 seconds before there was number 55 was in his face ready to just
that whatever his first name is, last name Graham, number 55 had a heck of a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kid is a monster.
That whole defense really did.
I thought that the second half starting with Penix throwing a pick on the first play, just kind of like it was so similar to the Rose Bowl too. It was right on the sideline. It was on a tip, and it was just like he kept it. Honestly, that was an amazing catch because I thought the receiver did such a good job to punch the ball, and the fact that he still caught it was great.
And he really did he played great defense, honestly.
Yeah, that took I felt like all of the wind that like I was thinking the same thing Blake was, at halftime. Man, they've played like crap, but they're only down 1 score and they get the ball back. If they go down the field and score and put the pressure on them, who knows what's going to happen? And just immediately I was like, well, never mind.
That's when I kind of knew that it was.
And Michigan didn't even do anything with it, but they were in field goal range, so they got a field goal out of it. And it was like, all right, now they're up 2 scores. And
I thought if they would have walked the ball down the field and scored right after halftime, I thought they were going to win the game. I was like, this is here we go.
I think it ended up being the fact they didn't have anybody to run the ball. They kept putting that poor kid in that.
Yeah, the
kid
was so injured with his injured foot. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so injured, and they kept running the ball with him, and it's like this dude can't outrun. And I think eventually like Penix he just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they were
they had
down
46 yards rushing.
They were on the 3-yard line, and they ran a sweep to Johnson. I'm like, the dude can barely walk. Why are we doing a 4th and goal, giving him a sweep? Like, that's
on third and goal, they ran with Penix, who was also injured and also doesn't run the ball. Dude has had.
Oh, I don't know, man. When
ACLs.
he ran against Texas, he looked good. He looked like he could move.
My thing was like, he can run. Like, if he wants to run, don't make it a design freaking QB draw.
Yeah, Michigan's speed, not only their power, but their speed was a problem for
Michigan.
Washington.
Looks like not like, I don't think they're as good as like Georgia was last year or the year before, but the way they played, they were just super physical, and they got big dudes.
And it's the same thing we said after the Alabama game. They don't miss tackles.
Yeah, no.
There were so many plays on like 3rd down where, like, in college football and professional football, you see this all the time. And as a fan, it's the most infuriating thing ever. It's 3rd and 7. They throw the ball 4 yards to a guy out in the flat, hoping that he'll break a tackle.
Yep.
And they do.
And Washington never broke the tackle.
No, yeah.
In college football, they do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
In professional football, no. And I'm like, hey.
And the dude will run for 20 yards.
Yeah. And every single time, they just wrapped him up and brought him straight to the ground.
Yeah, the one on I think it was either the 1st or 2nd drive for Washington, where I think it must have been the 2nd drive, where they threw after the flat like that, and there was 1-on-1. I mean, if he broke the tackle, he might have been gone. Yeah. And the dude made like a perfect tackle.
Yeah, there was one.
Was it the one where he tried to spin out of it and he got him by his feet?
And then he reached from 5 yards short.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was It was number 11 from Washington and number 0 from Michigan. I don't know either. But yeah, it was a good game. Now, hypothetical situation. We've talked about it a lot. I know a lot of people in the Austin area don't agree with the question I'm about to ask. But pick your UT quarterback. Whichever one you want UT to keep. The other one should just go to Michigan, and they will dominate.
Agreed.
If you put Quinn Ewers on that Michigan team, obviously a bunch of those guys are going to go pro, but Michigan's going to have just the next round up. If you go and put Quinn Ewers on that team, J.J. McCarthy is the part that's holding that team back.
Which is freaking nuts because they're saying he's a 1st-round draft pick.
Saying he's the best quarterback in Michigan history.
I don't know. That's just Jim Harbaugh. That's not like the media saying that. We all know that that's not true. The whole media saying that there's going to be like 8 QBs taken in the 1st round, I don't believe it. I don't even know if there is a good QB in this draft.
I don't either.
Penix draft stock crumbled last night.
Yeah.
It was, hey, if he plays against a good team, he doesn't have it.
I don't get when they started. I didn't even realize J.J. McCarthy was leave or could leave at this point. And I heard what's his face, Mel Kiper, saying he has him rated like the 25th best player in the draft. I'm like, did we watch the same game? Like, he didn't look good.
Who the hell is Mel Kiper anyway?
I don't know. Rest in peace, Todd McShay.
And yeah,
did Todd McShay die?
No, they fired him.
Oh, I thought the bulge on his neck got him.
No, he got hit by the firing of, and we're going to see, speaking of ESPN, worldwide leaders, they got some issues right now.
Yes, they do. Absolutely hilarious.
It's great, but they got some issues right now. I would not be surprised if we see another round of firings going on.
The dude that does the daily show from 2 to 4 might be on the chopping block.
Yeah, it makes for good content, though.
That it does.
Makes for good content.
Shoot, what were we talking about before that? I had another point on that.
Draft stock for Penix.
Oh, yeah. Seriously, this year, in my opinion, if I'm a team, I feel bad for the Bears. I don't want Caleb Williams.
I still think there's going to be enough teams out there that do want him that they're still
going to benefit
off
him. But, if I was a team that's, from what I have seen from Caleb Williams this year, I don't want him.
I wouldn't either. It's gonna end up a Bryce Young. It's gonna end up a Bryce Young situation.
But it's gonna be worse because Bryce Young is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is like Stephon Diggs as an unproven rookie. He's gonna come in and just be like, "I'm the best. I want all of these things." And that's not going to play with his teammates if they're not winning games.
Yep.
Because especially the Bears have ended this season very well. I think they went 6-2 on their last 8 games. Maybe 6-3 after the Packers game.
I feel like the Bears got to stick it out with Fields, and they got to trade down.
I think the Bears need to trade Fields, but not for Caleb Williams. They need to trade him and get a good veteran.
I could see that.
Well, okay, so like if you're the Patriots, do you really think Drake May or
who's the coach? That's the question. Patriots, who's the coach?
Mike Vrabel. But
no,
do you really think that any of those quarterbacks is in? I am not sitting here saying that Mac Jones or whoever else they've got on that roster is a spectacular quarterback. But I'm not trusting any of these quarterbacks to be any better than what I've already got. So why don't
the Patriots are drafting a quarterback?
No. The Patriots have to draft a quarterback. They need one.
No, but I would be trading down and taking weapons and defense.
No, their quarterbacks are terrible.
Well, I don't think any of these other quarterbacks are going to be worth a flip.
Yeah, but at least you can sell it as like
we tried.
We tried. If you don't draft a quarterback,
honestly,
what are you doing?
Honestly, the rest of the Patriots roster is being coached by Belichick is already so good. Their defense is amazing. They have $110 million left on their cap space, so they can go and pick up all the free agents and turn their roster around. And then their quarterback just needs to be serviceable.
You'll get Joe Flacco.
Like the third best quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus, so take it with a grain of salt, is Jaden Daniels, which I know he won the Heisman. But Daniels' game does not transfer to the NFL. No. He's a great college quarterback. He's so fun to watch.
No, yeah, I agree with college, but not NFL.
4th is Bo Nix at age, how old is he, 25?
Yeah, I think he is 25, legit. Bo Nix is 4th? I do not see him being great.
Bo Nix is 4th. Penix is
Mac
5th.
Jones. Mac Jones 2.0. Bo Nix.
Shador is 6th.
What?
JJ is 7. Quinn is 8. And they're trying to say that 8 quarterbacks are going to get taken in the first round. If Quinn Ewers, who I don't even think is going pro, so that doesn't make sense.
Is Shador going pro?
We'll go back one spot. If JJ McCarthy gets drafted in the first round, I am going to laugh so hard at that team.
The Saints.
If you're
tune into our live stream of the draft, everyone. It's a fun night.
If you're like the Rams or something, like you have an aging quarterback, you maybe could take a flyer on like a JJ.
But not in the first.
Not in the first round.
Guys in the 4th.
Yeah, not in the first round by any means.
Yeah.
You get him cheap. Well, relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Well, also of course, the Rams probably don't have a draft pick for the next 10 years, but
no, they have draft picks now.
We have draft picks now.
Next year they have first-round draft picks.
All right.
A first-rounder even?
I believe so.
When's the last time they had a first-rounder?
6 years ago or so. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams did show, man, we're doing too much NFL on this, but that's okay. They've shown what you need to do, and that is go all in, win your Super Bowl, suck for 2 years, bring in the guys that you need to, start over.
Yep, it's kind of worked.
But you got to hit in the draft, which is always hard.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the national championship game. Here are just some things that I think it was a terrible game. I think
so too.
We've talked about this a lot. I think that this playoff this year showed that no one was really that good in college football this year. There was no one that was Georgia dominant, Bama dominant, Clemson dominant from the years past. It was bad. It was bad. The games were close, but it was bad football.
Michigan caught a break because all of the teams that we usually see up there were all in transitional years. Like Georgia, first year QB.
I mean, yeah, Georgia losing
Alabama.
the SEC championship really just screwed everything up.
Yeah, I still think they were probably the best team in the nation. Alabama had first year QB. Ohio State.
Alabama had a first year QB who didn't play quarterback for 2 years. He was a wide receiver.
Yeah. There was a lot of first year QBs with the usual suspects.
Yeah.
And I think Michigan honestly, I think in some way, like I feel like Texas a little bit benefited from it too, where the big dudes, the big dogs normally are all in transitional years.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you look at the game, the first downs, Washington actually had more first downs, 17-16. Michigan only had 16 first downs.
Really?
However, Michigan did have 440 yards.
And 285 of them were in the first half rushing.
Yeah, they had 303 rushing yards in the game.
Golly.
It was even on penalties. The turnovers were the same. The possession was the same. So if you look at the stat sheet, you would look at this and say that Michigan does have a slight edge, but like that it would be a relatively – you would never look at this stat sheet and say Michigan won by 21.
Yeah, no. You know who's really ticked about watching that game is Kirby Smart in Georgia. That's who's really ticked watching.
Oh, yeah. Kirby Smart's looking at that and said we would have kicked both these teams' butts.
Yeah.
And I actually agree with him. I think he would.
I think they would have too.
Sorry. I agree with him depending on how their quarterback played.
If we got Snapchat Carson Beck, who knows? But
Carson Beck had some games in the SEC where he looked terrible and the games were close. But, their defense is good. The rest of their team is good.
The thing that ended up, I think, working in Michigan's favor the most was that the fact that they went up 14-3. Once they went up the 2 possessions, it was like, okay, we can do whatever we want on offense because they can't stop us. And then if they were playing from behind, McCarthy was not good enough to do anything.
Yeah, I really thought, in my opinion, the biggest play, there's 2 plays that that didn't change the game, obviously, at this point, that really cemented the game and killed Washington. And it was the pick to start the second half, which Michigan got the field goal that made them go up by 10. Because if Washington could have hung around only down 7, I mean, it only takes one drive to get it going. And then in the fourth quarter, the only big passing play that Michigan had that put McCarthy over 100 yards, because he barely threw for 100 yards, was he threw a slant over the middle to the tight end. And it was actually a pretty poorly thrown ball. And it was high, and the tight end makes a great catch, but the defender doesn't play the tight end at all and tries to jump and just lets him run by him, and he gets 41 yards.
Speaking of that, after watching the replay, what in the world was that defender doing?
Yeah, the defender just makes a brain fart and has a terrible play, and then that's the play. That's the drive that then after that, Corum scores, and then I think they're up 17 at that point, and then the game was just over. But I think if they could have held it to 7 points, because Michigan went 3 and out like 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And they went 3 and out when they got the interception, and then they kicked the field goal. So if that wouldn't have happened,
I know what drill Washington needs to do all spring. There's one drill in particular they need to do all spring. That's called an Oklahoma drill. That is what they need to do. They can't tackle worth a flip.
You just didn't build your team to.
No, yeah, that's like Pac-12 football when you meet a physical team.
Yeah,
that's just what it is, and that's what's gonna happen. After watching that game, that should scare you if you're Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. Like that should scare you because that's what you're gonna have to build, and you are gonna be way behind the 8 ball.
And you look at if you go look at all the national champions from the past, I don't know, probably 15 years, there's a couple outliers in there, but it once again proves if you want to win in college football, just be the physical fast team. That's what you want. Like LSU in 2019 was obviously the exception.
But that offense was so good it didn't matter what their defense did.
Correct. And it's like right, you just want that lockdown defense in college football, and you can go far. There's a reason why they say defense wins championships.
Yeah, that's been proven.
I think like Dan, I don't know if Kellen DeBoer is like this because he's kind of a different personality, but I think like Dan Lanning and Lincoln Riley in particular are so arrogant that they think that their team is going to translate to the Big Ten. They're going to think it's like we're just going to score 60 points a game and it's not going to matter, which that's not going to happen.
No. Lincoln Riley will be fired 2 years max.
Oh, I agree.
I don't think UFC athletics care about winning. I think they care about money, and they'll keep.
That's probably I get that sense too, where it's like they're like they have excitement around the program because of Lincoln Riley, so they kind of just don't care. But I do think at some level you got to win.
As long as they keep recruiting the big name players and getting the first round picks and thing, I think that they'll.
Which is what I think is going to be that part of the country's problem is you're playing against the Big Ten, which just like Midwestern standards, like just big folks.
I mean, their problem's going to be playing outside in the cold.
You got all these kids from LA. You got all these kids from LA playing in Ann Arbor, Michigan at noon on a Saturday morning.
But at the same time, they should all be in the Big Ten West, right? So I mean, they're going to kick Iowa and
I don't know how it's going to.
I thought they were getting rid of the conference thing too.
I don't know.
There's no way that they can all play each other.
No, they can't.
It has to do some kind of conference or division or something.
Or pod or something.
Ugh.
I have an idea.
No one should do the pod system.
They should just have all the teams in the West play each other.
That's a novel idea.
Yeah.
And make it a division instead of a conference. Then we just have the Pac-12 again.
It's a novel idea. Have the North, the South, the East, and the West.
That'd be crazy. Of course, the SEC's gonna have to do it too because they don't even. Well, I guess they announced next year how the schedule's going to be, but they've really said like what the future scheduling is going to be.
I think old Sankey said they're still working on it, but they're going to roll with what they're doing right now until they come up with a better system. Which I don't know how you come up with a better system because you're going to keep.
I have it. It's easy. Okay, not only so. It only works for football. The other sports should have full autonomy and do whatever they want to do. Okay, but for football, do your north, south, east, west, and we're going to just have to have a committee the first year, and you divide them into, y'all are going to love this, 10 teams.
You call it the Big Ten?
No, whatever. You have the North 10, you have the South 10, you have the East 10, you have the West 10. Fun, catchy conference names. You pick who you think the 10 best teams are from those places. And all they do, they play each other 9 times. So everyone has 9 conference games. Everyone plays everyone, so strength of schedule is equal. Then schedule 3 cupcake games for you as well. Or schedule a rival game if they're not in the 10 or whatever. Whatever you want to do from there, that's fine. You get 3 other games. Right? Is college football 12 games? Regular season? Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you add that up, that's only 40 teams. What do we do with the other teams? Well, there's a South 11 through 20 and blah, 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 blah. The reason why this is better is it's going to make bowl season more exciting because if you do a relegation system, which that'd be super easy, that's what I'm talking, relegation promotion, you care not only about the playoffs, which the playoffs is easy, 4 teams. You have, or whatever, 6, 8, whatever you want to do. Not 12. 12 is stupid. Do 8. Do the top 2 from the north, the top 2 from the east, the top 2 from the south, top 2 from the west. Boom. Put them against each other. That's a playoff system. That's a lot of money right there. Then you also have a playoff system between the 11 through 20s. So then those are those bowl games that you get 10 fans at now that make 0 money. I don't know why anyone sponsors a bowl game.
I don't either.
But now people will watch them and care.
And if there's relegation involved, you care about that game.
Correct. And so, like, the players won't opt out because the opt-outs are insane and stupid. Because
well, you'll still get NFL guys opting out.
Sure, but you're not going to get the kids entering the transfer portal and all of these kind of things already. And do it however many divisions you need to go.
Did y'all watch any bowl games?
I watched mainly clips.
They were terrible.
I watched the Texas A&M bowl game, I guess, technically.
Yeah, they were all terrible pretty much. I mean, the stands are empty. The players aren't playing. It's like, what are we even doing here?
They're not. So, I mean, and it seems like it's such an easy thing to do. Like, right now, we're actually getting to the point where we have 4 big conferences. Like, we now have 4 big conferences. There's no Power 5. It's Power 4. And almost all of them have about 20 teams. If you could get them to 20 teams and then just divide them in two, just let the SEC say, hey, here are the teams that are in the top division of the SEC because history. Put Bama, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, so on and so forth. And then here are the 10 teams that are going to be at the bottom. Also, I mean, sure, A&M could be in the top, but I don't know if we deserve it. Not only that, but then each game during the regular season is also going to be better.
The only struggle is the money. They'll just never work.
Why?
I feel like unless the top division and the bottom division all are on the same TV contract.
Do it 60-40. The top division gets 60%, the bottom division gets 40% or whatever.
Yeah, but some of those teams in bottom division bring in a lot of money.
No, go through the SEC and look at those bottom teams. Compared to the top teams, they bring in trash.
I bet you Mississippi State brings in good money.
Not compared to A&M or Bama.
No, not compared to not compared to
the state of Mississippi has less people than the city of Bryan College Station.
And less literature.
Legitimately, it might be close. I don't think there's that many people like lining up to like Mississippi State is not like appointment TV.
Yeah.
When Dak Prescott was there, maybe.
Especially this season, they were terrible. Or make it 55-45, whatever the percent. If it needs to be 51%, 49%, I don't care.
I do think something's got to change because the whole postseason is just stupid. Like it's what are we doing, fellas? It's stupid.
Just get rid of bowl games. Just get rid of them.
See, but bowl games, I like bowl games. They used to be fun.
Yeah, they used to be fun.
I would totally watch who would it be? An Auburn versus Mississippi State SEC Division II championship game in the middle of December when there's no games. I
would too, but I just don't.
Because the game would matter.
The problem is the players that you're asking to play, like a lot of them won't be there next year anyway, so they don't care if the teams go up or down. I feel like we've lost the time. We've lost the time where like the players, like actually, and this is like evident in the transfer portal, like they're not playing for a school, really. Like they don't care that they're playing at Texas. They don't care that they're playing at Texas.
Oh, Blake, that's easy though. We pay these players now. Put incentives in their contracts of, hey, if you get our team promoted, you get $1 million bonus. Look at how hard Chris Jones tried to get a sack for $1 million this
week. That's an awesome celebration, by the way.
He played every snap of those first 3 quarters just trying to get that sack. And I've never seen him play better. He was so determined.
That would be how you have to do it. You have to have incentives because otherwise they're still just gonna sit out.
Yeah. And you put these same incentives, but like negative incentives, it wouldn't be incentives, whatever the word is for that, for your teams that are going to get relegated. So that like, hey, you're going to lose NIL money if we get relegated. So like when a team starts to suck, they won't give up.
I'm not going to lie. It wasn't that long ago where like legit, like you could get excited over like on like a random Tuesday in December, you would see like Miami playing against like freaking Nebraska or some random matchup, and it would actually be like you would want to watch it. Now it's Miami versus Nebraska, but we're playing with 30 scholarship dudes, and they're all true freshmen.
I mean, we talked about this pre-pod. Texas A&M had the 12th man starting on defense, and he led the team in tackles. That's how bad that bowl game was, and we still almost beat Oklahoma State.
Yeah, who was the Big 12 runner-up.
That's how bad Oklahoma State and Oklahoma State, they played their team.
And we had a cornerback that was literally blind. Dude didn't know where the ball was.
I'm tired of also like there's certain college football games that I don't care to watch. Yeah. But because the games don't matter. Like it doesn't like if we're still talking SEC, Vanderbilt versus Mississippi State this year, meant nothing if they played, whatever. Let's pretend that they played each other. However, if they're fighting in a relegation battle, it does matter, and it'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah, there's American sports have it screwed up because, like, you see in Europe when they do the relegation, it's all in the bottom teams. When they win, whatever game it is they need to win to not be relegated, those fans are going nuts.
Correct, and you would get more playoffs. That's the part that I don't understand why people don't want to do it. Like, American sports love playoffs. Like, that's what we love over here. You would get more of it because you would have multiple systems of playoffs, and it would be way more exciting, in my opinion.
What's probably going to end up happening is the Power Four are going to separate from the rest of it. They may still play, whatever Sun Belt Conference in the regular season, but it's going to end up being the Sun Belt, whatever the other ones, the other 5 or whatever number it is. They're going to have a whole separate playoff, I bet.
They're going to be like the FCS.
See, but that would work perfectly because you would have your Power Four. If all your Power Four had 20 teams, and then your Power Four would split up into 2 divisions, so there would be 8 divisions total in your Power Four. And then you would have your Sun Belts and all of these guys playing, and then the national championship of the Tier 3 Sun Belt, MAC, all of those people would get promoted to League 2 of the Power Fours, and we'd go from there, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. But
agree.
right now is the time to do it because of all the alignment. This would be the perfect time for it to work.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome, like, watching those games. I just don't see in America that will ever do it. People are too prideful. They can't stand the fact that their team might be, like, not that great one year, and they're, like, down a league.
And the best part, in my opinion, of that whole system, there's no need for a committee.
Yeah, nope. That's true, too.
It's just, hey, we're going to take the top 2 teams from each division, put them in playoff.
I would do just about anything to get rid of a committee.
The only time you would need a committee would be the very first season to determine who's in what division.
You could even, yeah.
Let the conference commissioners decide it.
No, I hate Sankey.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. We'll wrap it up we're going to talk a little bit of Texas A&M football, which you could start calling cornerback university.
Yeah. If you're a cornerback on the transfer portal, you're coming to A&M probably.
Yeah.
I do have one question about this whole transfer portal, and mainly transfer portal. What is the point of, like, can we do away with commitments? Commitments mean nothing. Don't tell me you're going somewhere till you sign the dotted line to go there, because I hate looking at, and it doesn't matter if it's A&M, any school. I hate seeing, this kid committed to this school, and then 2 weeks later, this kid was here, now committed there, but now they're recommitting to this new school. How many times are you going to recommit till you find a destination? Like, just don't say nothing until you sign the paperwork saying this is where I'm going.
Well, the other side of it, too, I think the original deal with the transfer portal was you could do it one time penalty free.
Yeah, now
without having like a review. Now I believe, like, I don't even know why the NCAA exists, but like Congress or someone basically said the NCAA has no power to limit transferring. So now everyone just transfers.
Yep, and they're doing it.
And I'm okay with, like, a player should be able to transfer probably if they want to transfer. Like, we let coaches come and go all the time. But there's got to be some, like, incentive to stay at your own place.
I'm okay with the transferring. It's just, so example for A&M, I don't even know who this kid was. He's from, like, FAU or something, or maybe even smaller than that. Or Old Dominion. He was a defensive lineman. He committed 2 days later. He changed his commitment to another
receiver.
He's a wide receiver. Javon Harvey.
It's like, bro, just don't say nothing till you actually know where you're going to go. Make your visits. That's fine. Take your visits. But don't tell no one nothing till, hey, this is where I'm going. I've signed the paperwork. I'm going there. There's no backing out now until next year.
I'm a huge fan that we got a kid named Scooby Williams. I'm about it.
That's pretty legit.
Let's go, Scooby.
The other thing is, back at, like, 10 years ago, if you had, like, this guy that comes to your school and he's a sophomore and he has a great year, a quarterback especially, he has a great year, you're in your head, you're like, I still got another year with this guy.
Yeah.
Now you have no earthly idea because that kid from Ole Miss, Quinshawn Judkins, who's like a beast of a running back, transferred. For what reason? He was getting every opportunity to play. He was a beast, and he just transferred to Ohio State just because he can.
Yeah.
Where he probably will never play.
Yeah, and he was great at Ole Miss.
It's just the money. That's all it is. But
it is. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
But that's got to go. So that's like the NFL with tampering. So there's tampering going on, and that's really what needs to be stopped is the tampering.
Well, the NCAA is totally powerless. Like they have no ability to regulate anything. There's no one in charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like recruiting back in the day. The teams are always going to be doing stuff that is unethical, we will say, to get an edge. So, yeah, they're going to tamper. They're going to throw money at these kids. I think a lot of it, you look at these kids sign these contracts or whatever for their NIL, and they realize that they don't actually get that much money.
Yeah. That's what Evan Stewart I think it was Evan Stewart even said, like, y'all were acting like we were all getting all this money. I didn't see anything from A&M.
Yeah.
Which now he's gone, so.
I also think
not yet. He could come back.
He could come back.
That's another thing. I think if you enter the portal because you're trying to go money search, I don't think you should be able to go. Like if no one offers you more, I think too bad. Like you're stuck. You got to go find somewhere to play. You don't get to go back and go crying back to mommy to give me the money that I wanted because no one else would offer me more. No, if you enter the portal and no one offers.
Here, I was reading something today or like the day before. There was like at one point in time there was like 5,000 kids in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they were saying they're literally probably, even could be thousands, could be 1,500 kids will never play another snap of football because nobody will take them. Yeah. And they don't have space for them. Especially with the COVID situation, you all have these 7th-year seniors.
Yeah,
that's got to stop too. The thing is, what like these kids that get full rides to go play college football but aren't getting NIL money or aren't playing, like you got to sometimes look in the mirror and say, look, I'm just not that good and I'm not gonna get to play anywhere. But let me get a free education because then if you go into the portal and lose your scholarship and no one else gives you nothing, you're screwed. You're paying for school now.
That's what they said. They said a lot of it happens to quarterbacks specifically because there's so many of them. You only need one of them.
Yeah.
None of them are getting, or there's just nowhere to go.
And no one's giving these kids any good advice.
At some point, somebody's gonna have to like take control of it and be like, somebody has to be in charge. There's nobody in charge right now. It is literally it seems like it's the Wild West.
As long as the U.S. government stays out of it, I'll be pretty happy.
No, they're the reason it's so crazy because they're saying like the NCAA doesn't have power to control any of this.
Yeah,
which the NCAA wasn't doing anything anyways. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. College sports is very weird right now.
The future is in flux in college sports, and you know what? This is going to be the last time that we talk to y'all for a while till the fall when we come back. At least on college.
We have to learn 85 new names because they're all transferred in.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. A&M had 19 people transfer in through the portal.
Yeah, and 11 in the past 3 days or 12.
Yeah.
And have had 18 leave. So
we got space for more.
But you know what? Hey, good for the Johnson brothers still staying together. So good for them.
Where do they end up at? Duke or something?
They're UNC.
UNC.
We appreciate everybody for listening to our college football season this year. If you're like, oh no, we want to listen to you more, don't worry. NFL episode not only drops tomorrow, but we're getting into the best time of the Football is King podcast when it comes to the NFL because it's playoff time, baby. We're talking playoffs.
Playoffs. And some of us have no rooting interest, so we're just here for it.
That too, and some people are going to get upset if Lamar Jackson wins a bunch of playoff games. So it's going to be a good time out there. So you know what? We appreciate all the support. Remember to like, subscribe, all of those kind of things. Share with your friends. Let us know Were we right about the national championship? Did you see something different? We would love to know in the comments or on Twitter or X or whatever the heck it's called nowadays. We do trash Elon Musk a lot on this, but we post things on the interwebs on using his website.
We love
and
Elon.
Remember, yeah, we love it. You know what? Actually, besides that first minute, Shane's internet held up pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well.
That was pretty good. I don't know if it's just because there's only 3 of us on instead of 4 this time. Maybe that's the trick. Who knows?
Thank you, Elon.
We appreciate it, Elon, and to all of our listeners out there, remember, make good choices, people.